Nope.
Recordings in progress. Approval of minutes from January 22nd, 2024.
Move to approve.
Colleen moves. Is there a second? I'll second. Any corrections, additions, changes that anybody sees? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Perfect.
Thank you.
All those opposed, nay. All right. Any public appearances there or that you know of?
None, except for individuals, unless there's anybody online. I believe everyone's here for their application, Andy, so.
Okay, perfect. Excuse me. Old business consideration with possible action of tourism entity contract with MESBA, doing business as Discover Monona. I see Christina on here as well, and I know Neil and she have had conversations. Hopefully everyone had a chance to take a look at it. Is there any changes or comments that either Neil or Christine, hopefully you've been able to review it and look over your board, any comments from either of you?
Christine, obviously we met and gone through it. We think we're good. We had a good meeting between our last two meetings. Christine and I met with one of her board members. Actually, the gentleman from Country Inn and Suites actually kind of helped review and went through some questions on it. And I think we are in good position on this one. Not that there won't be a need to change or address something as we go out through the rest of the year, but I think we're in good space. It's in good space right now. So,
sure. Are there any questions, changes, comments from the commission?
Just a note on that, Andy, we have, I believe, Christine, we did issue the first $40,000, did we not? Hopefully you guys got that. So that per the commission's direction, we issued the $40,000 check. The remaining 20 will be issued upon signature of the contract. So, which Andy
Sounds
just
good.
did this morning. So if you guys officially approve it, we'll be good to go.
Sounds good. All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. All right.
Did we actually get a motion? Did we actually get a motion in a
Oh,
second? On
yeah.
that one?
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I can second.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, nay. All right. There we go.
Perfect. Thank you.
Statement of potential conflict of interest. I don't have any with those that have applied today. Betsy or Colleen, anything we should be aware of? Okay.
No.
Perfect.
Consideration and discussion of current room tax funds balance. Hopefully everyone was able to see the kind of breakdown of what's outstanding, what was approved, and where we are. And it looks like, let me just scroll down here.
No, it is in your packet. I can always bring it up if you need to.
Yeah.
As well.
It looks like we have over $481,000 left. For 2024.
Not
Does anybody have any
today's
questions
right?
or comments on that? All right. Seeing none, we will move on to consideration of the applications. We are, if you don't mind, Christine, we're going to take yours last since you have a good chunk of it, so that then, I see at least two of the people on here just have one thing in particular. So we'll start at the Milkman Triathlon. So if everyone can scroll down on their documents, and that will be, I think is that Ryan?
Yep, it should be Ryan. Let's see here. We'll go here. Share my screen here. So we have actually so I don't know why my font's got all goofy on here. I think there's an update needed on this computer, but I will get down to that particular item. Triathlon, just I try to do a quick summary for everybody here on each one of these, on each application, just a nickel version here for folks. Ryan, we're gonna get him to, God bless him. He keeps requesting half of his marketing dollars. So we keep increasing him to his full amount of marketing for a staff recommendation on these. Again, we've obviously had good success. This is similar to the application that we reviewed for them also last quarter as well. Again, they're very, very, you know, which we appreciate them being pinching pennies, but in terms of at least an eligible up to number, we've included all their marketing items. So they've kind of traditionally only included less than half in terms of requests for possible reimbursement. So they requested 4,500. Those are the three items they had identified for marketing in their application, the social media, the calendars and publication, and other local marketing. So we are simply recommending an up to $11,000 grant reimbursement for those items.
We'll start with maybe a motion to approve, and then we'll open it up to discussion.
Motion to approve?
Is there a
This is the only one from Race Day events, just to be clear.
Yes.
Okay, I can second.
All right. All right, so staff recommendation is 11,000. They requested 4,500. I'm guessing he would provide a voice if that was not desired. But what is everybody's thoughts and questions or comments?
Just on the record first, this slideshow is great. I love it. Very to the point,
Excellent.
very helpful.
Perfect, great.
And of course, as with the heads and beds consideration, if you go to their lodging site, it's all the Monona hotels are right there. So pretty good promotion. I don't know much about this event beyond what I saw on the website and the application though. So if anyone else wants to weigh in on that.
Ryan, did you wanna say a few words about it, or? know
Yeah, I
Ryan-
can. I definitely can. This is what would be the third year of the event. We did it in 2016, super successful, and then Ironman came and kind of assumed the event from us, which was the 70.3 put on in June 17 through 22. With Ironman moving their 70.3 to the September date, we worked with them again to kind of get their blessing and say, hey, we want something for them to train for in the full event that is in September, and a lot of the athletes want something in June. So we worked with everybody to bring the June race back in 23. Last year it was extremely successful again, and continued then again to this year. As we sit today, 36% of the athletes are from out of state, and we have 20 states covered so far. We're hoping to hit that 30 mark by the time the race comes. And I think you'll see a consistent number between 36 and 40% of those people are coming from out of state. The nice thing, and honestly slightly untrackable number of this, is people do come to train from out of state as well. So you do get heads and beds, pretty much starting now when that weather warms up until they come to this event. We have, it's kind of a high level race. We do have a $5,500 prize purse. So people are coming from across the nation to race for that money. But other than that, it's it's kind of a status quo for us, and a great event and great support from you guys. We do appreciate that.
Awesome.
Ryan, is this qualifying, this race?
It does not really, well, no, it does not really qualify for anything. The prize purse does for the few pros that do come and race for that prize purse. It does get added to like a point system for them throughout the year based on how much money they make racing. But this is not a qualifier for any sort of championships or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm just looking.
I see Teresa's on here. Yep.
Yeah, I'm here. What's the address of Hotel Monona? I was looking at the Milkman, WisconsinMilkman.com.
Hotel Monona is right next to the Sheridan, across from the Alliant Energy Center.
So it's City of Madison is Hotel Monona.
Yeah, that one's.
I thought that we had 3 hotels in Monona, if I'm not mistaken. I see
We do.
on Race Day event website, I'm seeing Sheridan Marriott, the City of Madison, Hotel Monona, City of Madison. And then there are 2 others, the Avid, and Country Inn, which are 2
Yeah,
of the
and then
3.
there's
So
should be America Inn as well.
which is not listed on the race day, which was not listed on the Milkman on their website, Wisconsin.
We can,
Milkman
we
Triathlon.
can make sure to get that one listed. I
Yeah.
thought it was on there, but I'll make sure that is on there. I know we've been in communication with them for room blocks. So.
Any additional comments, questions?
I just wish the 3 Monona hotels were a little more prominently advertised. The 2 Madison hotels have great big pictures and they're right at the top of the page. Perhaps the 3 Monona hotels could be a little more, could be equally given equal billing, I guess.
I have no problem doing that. I think we need some assets. Somebody sent us the assets for the Madison ones. If there's anybody that you would, and we can reach out to the hotels as well, but we have no problem.
That's what I
adding-
would recommend. Just let them
Okay.
know, like, hey, we'd love to like get
Yeah.
people into your doors, but you got to help us help you, type of thing. Yeah,
I think we can do that.
awesome.
And I know, I mean, I'm sure you have your own contacts, but I know Neil knows the general managers of each of those too. So if you need that assistance.
Ryan, just out of curiosity, is there a reason why you don't ask for the full amount as far as your promotion budget is concerned?
I think it was. I think Neil actually said it quite well. As we want to make sure that we play fair. And I don't know how much you have budget wise, so you know, we expect to, you know, produce an event really with our own funds, and these grant monies are just extra that we can even push further. So knowing that if we get this, we'll even put more marketing towards this, I think. So, I mean, realistically, we're just trying to leave some gaps so other people can take advantage of the awesome stuff you guys offer.
Thanks.
And for the commissioner, I just want to compliment Ryan on, he probably provides the most complete application out of anybody, including their overall budget, their other revenues, they have been really a great applicant, both first quarter and second quarter, in terms of providing comprehensive information. So staff is appreciative of their application efforts, so.
All right. Is there,
Are you a 501c3? Sorry.
We are not. We are a for-profit company, but we are driven. Obviously, any event business like what we do is built off of volunteers. So we give back a large amount every year, well over 100,000 every year, that we are able to help charities raise because of what we do.
additional questions or comments? If not, looking for someone on the commission to recommend an amount and maybe make that amendment to the original motion.
But just so I understand, if more were available, more advertising would be possible.
Yes, we would. If we could get, I would say up to 15,000, we could put another 4,000 in easily. And I think that would benefit both the event and the hotels to draw more people from the Michigan area would be our big target. There was just recently a 70.3 race over there that is not happening any longer. And we'd like to reach out to those people to bring them over here for the race. And it was the race that I'm talking about was scheduled a week later than this one. So it would be a good fit to draw them over.
So you've already got your plan, you've already got your target audience, you just need the funds to bring them in.
That is correct.
So I would like to move to amend the amount for Milkman from 11,000 to 16,000.
Oh. Okay.
Is
To
that
what
what,
amount, Teresa?
I believe I'm adding 5 more. That was what I heard Ryan say.
Oh, it would be to 11 then.
Oh, it would
Five
be
more
to
than what
11.
he was asking for.
Yeah, because they asked for 4,500.
Oh, I'm so sorry. My bad. I moved to amend the amount to 11,000.
Okay, perfect. Is
My
there
bad.
a second?
I'll second that.
Perfect. Any additional discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. All right. We will move on to Monona Community Festival.
Here. All right. All right, this application here, this is funding request was $15,000. Again, eligible items are the things we would generally consider for reimbursement. These are, they provided a nice breakdown of a variety of marketing efforts they're going to be doing. We simply totaled those specific items up to come up with our $13,200 reimbursement recommendation, so.
All
My
right.
only concern is, and Colleen, now you've turned me into a website, and I'm looking up all the websites here. There's just nothing on the Monona Community Festival website that I'm seeing that talks about the hotels.
And obviously, that's a condition of the grant, Alder, is absolutely, they would have to do that. They would have to get those put up on there, and they'd have to clearly demonstrate that they did that, so. It's not a prerequisite of the funding, it's something they will, if they are awarded a grant, it's something they will have to do.
Okay, so they don't have to do it in order to get,
It's a
in order
condition
to
of their funding,
apply. Okay.
right, correct.
And I don't think anyone's here. No. Any additional questions or comments, or is there a motion?
I guess I still have the same question here, whether this is a 501c3 or not.
I believe they are.
I'm
'Cause I know
trying
they
to-
asked for donations outside of this.
Is that for profit, or can it still be a nonprofit? Okay.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I don't see anything on their website about being that. I wonder if that's a piece we could add, Neil, to the application, and just a checkbox, whether an agency that is applying is a 501c3 nonprofit.
Yeah, certainly, we can, that's something we can add, absolutely.
Because I think we're in a lucky position right now to be able to give funds freely, but it might, if at some point we didn't have all the amount that is being requested, it might be something that weighs in on who we're giving the money to if we have to make decisions.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, they show up on Charity Navigator as a nonprofit.
They do. Thank you.
Yeah.
They just didn't put it on their website.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Is there a motion?
I would do a motion to approve the original amount requested or the amended amount. Or entertaining either.
I think that's up to us.
The commission's
Yeah.
choice, absolutely, that's right.
Ugh. And I'm so sorry, 2,800 was taken off for what?
I think they had staff hours identified as part of their application. So as we've kind of done with previous ones, if you wanted to go higher than that, we would probably change it from a $13,200 reimbursement grant to the $13,200 reimbursement grant plus some sort of hotel sponsorship requirement like we have done previously.
Got it.
Hotel
think,
sponsorship Neil, hotel sponsorship meaning,
We are giving them, again, like we discussed last meeting, Alder, is that we give them essentially a payment, essentially in terms of actually becoming a sponsor of the event in exchange for advertising the hotels as part of their event planning and the event itself. So that's
Yeah.
what we're paying them for. So,
And that's where staff time could fall
Yeah.
into being applicable.
as long as they meet the advertising requirements of the hotel sponsorship, That is a revenue source that they can spend on whatever they deem appropriate. We are paying them essentially to advertise the hotel.
Mm.
So,
On this particular application, I think they took out, the staff took out festival security. They were gonna use some money for festival security.
Mhm. So in that case, I move to fund the Monona Community Festival at the original requested amount of 15,000 with the condition that they work to how do we say that? That they include the hotel component of their
Yeah.
application.
Yeah, they wouldn't get money if they didn't do it.
Yeah.
All of the applications, yeah. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. All right. Madison Events Production, I think I saw Robin on here. Nope, guess they maybe dropped off. Rock and Brews Marathon and 5K. They originally asked for 30,000.
yeah, but this was essentially, again, we targeted the, looked at all the eligible items they had requested for marketing. That's where we came up with the recommendation for the reimbursement grant of 4,700. And kind of tried to keeping it in line with some of the couple of other races we've evaluated at this point. So there's been the Lake Monona 20K last quarter, as well as the Milkman Triathlon, this one, trying to keep it in the same range in terms of, obviously, the hotels were significantly, at least the projected hotels were significantly higher for this event. They had like 600, I think, for this one. So we did increase that. I think those other two, we did around 11,000. We did kind of move that overall number to 14,000. So that's broken up between $4,700 reimbursement grant for those eligible items, and then a $9,300 hotel marketing sponsorship that where we would require them to put those hotels specifically up as part of their advertising for the event.
Yeah,
Good discussion.
I wish they were on the call because
Mhm.
one thing that really stood out to me was if the event doesn't get the full amount, could they do the event? And they said yes, but it would impact future events. And I don't really know what that means. Does that mean future events in Monona? Does that mean they would hesitate to do it again? Or
Yeah, that I do not know. So.
Hmm.
And one thing to think about too is we can always approve a certain amount and then they can always come back if they needed. Since they're not here, just throwing that out there as an option.
And again, this would be an example, certainly in comparing this to the previous application where we had literally, we know what their revenues are. We know what their comprehensive budget is. We got all of that information in that application. That information was not provided in this one. It was simply very kind of more of the basic types of things. No other revenue was provided. So it causes us to be a little hesitant to just jump in and approve it at the fully requested amount when we don't have any of that other information. So again, conservatively kept it mostly to the eligible items identified and then tried to keep it in range of kind of what we've done for the other race events that we've looked at here this year.
And then the other question I would have, because it seems like they have some pretty good demographic information.
Mhm.
I mean, because it seems incredibly specific, but is that just people who ran the race? Because I assume, again, with the brewery partnership, there's going to be a lot of attendees who didn't attend the race, but then how did they get that information? Yeah,
It's really too bad that they're not on the call.
yeah.
If I had $30,000 on the line, I'd be on the call. But
Yeah.
that's me, and 30,000 means a lot to me, but
Yeah.
I agree that we could probably postpone this one if other commissioners don't feel like we have enough information.
I would prefer to postpone than to make a decision that might hurt their event.
Okay, and they can always, I think July is our next meeting date, so that gets before August, although it'll be cutting it close, so.
Mhm.
Is there a motion to table? Or do we need a motion, or do we just not consider it, or how do you recommend, Neil?
I would think a motion to hold this to the next meeting to get additional information would be fine.
Okay, is there a
Um,
motion?
I'll move to table this decision until our next meeting.
Is there a second?
I can second.
All right. And I think with the tabling, we don't even vote on that.
And who will be circling back with this
I'm
organization?
guessing Neil would be.
I will be.
Okay. And Neil, would you also be circling back with like the community festival on that decision? That they need to promote events on their website, or hotels on their
Yeah, that
website?
would be part of the grant agreement, absolutely, Oliver. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
sweet.
literally a printed requirement of their grant agreement.
Got it. Okay, great, sweet.
All right, I don't know if this is just a repeat application that I'm scrolling to the bottom, but there's, Parks and Mesbah, Destination Madison, and I know there's one above. Is that just a repeat, or is that a separate one?
There is some overlap on those, and I think Missy's here to and Christine can kind of help, might be some overlap between those two, but then they're both here to talk about those two applications to clarify
Oh.
that, so.
Okay, yeah, because I don't even see a dollar amount requested or anything.
in terms of-
Okay.
For which one?
For,
in the
it just
actual
says
application.
Destination Madison Partnership
We'll
Digital
see here.
Campaign.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
I
it's
thought
really
that was a
small.
repeat too, but I didn't look that closely.
Yeah,
Hold on, it might be it should be this
so
one
it looks like
here.
there's 2 requests for 17% of our funds from Destination Madison.
Where's the other one here? I haven't added it here twice accidentally here, hold on.
Possibly. I have two separate ones.
If you have
On,
2 separate ones, Missy, then
page-
this must be the second one, because I didn't see anything besides the Mesbah one above.
One
Are we
is
talking about-
page 24 on the packet.
Okay, in
then
the packet, okay.
The very end of the packet.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell if those were the same either because I didn't have them side by side.
Yeah, it's,
Two separate.
oh,
yeah, I'm just glancing at this one here.
Yep,
We
It looks
we
like it.
submitted one for the $60,000, which is a regional marketing campaign through Park and Rec, which would be, if you're looking at the like spreadsheet, that last 60,000. Then I also submitted the $63,000, which is technically listed under Discover Monona Destination Madison Partnership.
Missy,
That one.
which pages of the packet are those found on?
I don't have the
I've
full
got it.
packet in front of me, I'm sorry.
I can fire it up here.
I just have my documents.
I'm looking at page 51, Neil.
Yeah,
Okay.
24 and 51. We just need to know
24.
if those are duplicates.
24 and 51.
We'll bring this up here so we can actually see these here.
So 51 is the digital campaign. And 24 is also the digital campaign.
Yeah, it just looks like 2 same requests.
So there's this application on 24, and I would say that one was 51.
Mhm.
Yeah, page
Yeah, that's
51.
the same exact one,
Okay,
which is not.
Okay, all right.
Nope, I
Yeah,
have
I
a second
don't
one
see
right
another
here.
one for you, Missy. I don't think.
okay.
Oh,
So I think we had the.
all right. Why don't we just, we'll start with the Mesbah ones.
All right.
We'll go to
Which
page, what
So-
page is this?
51 or 24?
No, we're gonna go to Discover Monona organization for Monona Tourism Media. We'll just start there, which is page 12.
Thank you.
Assuming this
So
is,
this looks like it's Christine. So Christine,
Yep,
are you
yep.
on and ready to discuss?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, I can talk so loud.
Is everybody on the
This is
same page, literally?
literally, okay, good deal.
All right.
Okay, so this was 65-2 requested. Again, we took a look at specifically at the eligible items, of the marketing campaign. The one question we did have, there was a $10,000 line item for video and content creation. We do have kind of, previously in the cruise quarter, we approved the creation of a media library. So I wasn't sure if there was gonna be some overlap with this at that point, but we figured Christine's going to be here to talk about that. So we could ask her here at the meeting. Again, so right now, the recommendation is for those 3 particular advertising items, which I think she included additional information on each of those, I think, as part of the application. So again, we took pretty much the full amount. And then we moved the 60 off and then 50. So at this point, we're at 50,000, but we're certainly open to suggestion on the video and content creation, depending on what Christine has to say today, so.
Hey, Neil. I want to reinforce what Colleen said and that the PowerPoint is fantastic. I love that you've listed eligible items, maybe moving forward, another bullet point for ineligible item. Eligible,
Really?
ineligible, and then the staff recommendation.
Yep, we can certainly add that, easy enough.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Christine, do you want to say a few words about this?
Yeah, thank you. So this one is, we started working with Aldo Leopold and Parks and Rec to do the Great Outdoors Wisconsin campaign with Fox 47. And then in talking, and now that we have taken responsibility for the tourism entity, we kind of started looking long-term, and instead of just doing things piecemeal, we really wanted to have a comprehensive media campaign that kind of covered a couple different outlets and strategies, so that we could start advertising Monona in general and just start bringing people in. And then we can really highlight different things through different, like iHeartRadio. There's a lot of targeting that's involved in that. So we can, if there's an event coming up for bikers or whatever, we can really target that specifically. And we're doing this with any large events that are coming to town, minus the community festival, because we've heard that that's very well attended and we probably don't need more people for that one. But we're working really hard with the Harry Whitehorse carving event that's coming this summer, for example, just because we really want to see that be successful and bring people in. So basically, long and short, that's how this whole thing came about. In my application packet, you can kind of see how we've picked certain months and what we'd like to address in each of those months. And then I have down Wisconsin Great Outdoors, CityCast, Madison in Wisconsin. I don't know if anyone gets the Madison Minutes every morning, but they also do one for Chicago. They don't do one for Milwaukee, so that's why it's not included. iHeartRadio, we've been talking to them about doing some things for our members. So I asked them to put together a proposal for me, kind of piggybacking on what we already have down for the Great Outdoors. And then last would be social media that we can kind of do more locally. But as we've sort of said before, this is really to bring people into Monona, or at least consider staying here versus going into Madison if they're coming into the area.
And just
Oh, and the 10,000.
I was gonna say, just wanted to give Christine a shout out on like providing that calendar of hitting that marketing. That's great information. So
Agree,
we very much appreciate that being included, so.
agree. Yep.
And the 10,000 is just kind of like to cover, we do have the media library, but those are just like snippets of things. So we need someone to be able to put it together for us. Fox 47 is doing that, but with CityCast and possibly iHeartRadio, we might have to provide some of that ourselves. And I'm not good at video editing. So we just put that in there because we might need to be paying someone to do that.
Okay, got it.
Well, and CityCast and iHeartRadio wouldn't be a visual medium, right? So that would be just audio.
iHeartRadio actually, so it's iHeartRadio, but it's also like iHeartTV, whatever. They have an exclusive partnership with Amazon and Amazon TV now, which unless you pay the extra money, you have to see the ads. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Not to conflate the two applications together, but you were mentioning Great Outdoors and the next application is Great Outdoors. So is one contingent on the other, or what's the duplication?
Oh, so this one, if you look at the budget, I'm just asking for, this is all three of them together. We had already started the Great Outdoors one. So we want to be able to do that regardless of if you wanted to go ahead with this larger one. But if you look at the budget, I only asked for money for paid social media, iHeartRadio, and CityCast.
Okay.
But Andy, to your point, if the commission was interested in approving both of these, we probably could roll these into one grant agreement. And actually, I'll just amend the total amount. Move the recommendation, whatever the commission wants to recommend for that Great Outdoors one. I think that we could actually put all these into one contract if there's interested in approving both of them.
Gotcha.
Just FYI.
Christine, I know this is kind of a odd question, but so you talked a lot about targeting, but that your main goal is outside of, I assume, the Dane County area. So I'm wondering why we would advertise on CityCast Madison.
CityCast Madison does have a pretty wide range as far as their podcasts and things like that are concerned. So we probably wouldn't be doing like email blasts with them. We'd be doing more of their podcasts that they do. So once a week, they pick a particular company or something that's happening in Madison, and they do like an hour podcast on it or 45-minute podcast on it. So this would actually be, surprisingly enough, with this kind of money, it would just be like the little blurb right at the beginning. So like the very first ad that you hear before the podcast starts. So we'd be like the sponsor of that week.
Sure. So I do listen to CityCast Madison.
Oh,
actually.
okay.
Or I have before, and it does feel like it's for people who live in Madison or in the Madison area rather than people who are interested in Madison. But I like Chicago makes a lot of sense to me. We get a lot of visitors from Illinois, so I'm kind of curious with the targeting, how much of it is specifically outside of Dane County.
With that one also, they gave us a break, like a discount if we did both.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
you know, I mean, some things we do want local people to know, like for example, Parks and Rec
Sure.
this year has the canoe and kayak rentals are back in Monona again, which is awesome. So there are things.
Yeah, and I'm not saying there's no value
yeah.
for local advertising. I'm just kind of curious what the breakdown is in targeting.
Yeah, it would be 50-50. So half in Chicago, half in Madison. And then we do have a couple Chicago specific email blasts that we'd want to get in that would actually, you know, they'd show up as being a sponsorship or an advertisement in the Chicagoland area for a couple of these larger ones.
And iHeart owns a lot of things. So
Yes.
so that targeting, I guess, could get pretty specific.
Yes.
And is that also 50-50 with more local and out of state, or how does that targeting break down? And you don't have to get too specific. I don't want to take up all of the time in this meeting, but
So I haven't seen the final actual proposal. They're still working on all the details. So we gave them like a general budget. You know, if it's between like 10 and 20, what can we get? These are the months. These are the months that we want to hit pretty hard. These are the months that we just want to mention something. And so I did get an email from them yesterday that they're getting closer to having a quote for us. So I'm not exactly sure about that, but.
okay. And one more question, I swear, and I'll be done. So I meant there was a tracking relationship with Country Inn and Suites.
Mhm.
We're Avid and American not interested in that.
We have not been able to get any answers from them. So I'm continuing to try. When I dropped off the Monona guides, I brought it up again. I still have to stop at American. So I'm hoping I'll run into Jack when I'm there. So.
Got it. I mean, because that seems like that would be so valuable
Right.
to have to collect that data.
Absolutely.
Had a problem with data collection. So thank you very much.
Yep. Oh,
You
and
know,
also, Colleen, just to like kind of piggyback, I remembered something. When we've been talking to Destination Madison, they said that most of the tourism that happens, at least for like a weekend trip, is within 100 miles. So we are trying to keep it like within 100 miles.
So to build off a question Colleen had, was you mentioned like a 25% increase. I mean, do you have that base number so that in a year from now you can say you hit that, or?
What we do is we'd ask the hotels to look at their year-on-year records. So we
Okay.
don't, but we know, they know what they had last year at this period. So we'd be able to say, well, this is how much we were able to bring in this year during this.
Yeah. And then, yeah, that's just, it would be helpful to know because I mean, throwing out 25% increase is huge in my mind. Cause I mean, you don't know where you're starting at this point if you don't have that data. And then my guess one of my questions is, and maybe this is a build off of the question of is Avid and America Inn involved, is like, what's their skin in the game? I mean, this is free advertising for them. So if anything, like they should be raising their hand, right?
Right.
Because this is paid for not by them. So I guess my question is like, what is their skin in the game? Because we're going to all this work.
Right,
And
exactly.
Well, as part of the tourism entity, we have them on our website. It's on Discover Monona. They're listed and everything. Country Inn and Suites did give us like a 10% discount on whatever the rate is at the time. So it does fluctuate with the current pricing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I guess it's more of like a philosophical question for like you
Yeah.
and Neil is like, I know we've had a very difficult time. At times, we've had very good relationships with each one at different times, but not all together coalescing. And I don't know, I know there's a lot of transition and different things like that, but I guess I just don't understand from like even a business perspective from their side, like why wouldn't they want to cultivate this and respond to you and, be an active participant in this? Because the more they are, the more you can help them, the more we can help them, and then the better off we help each other. So it's just,
Yeah.
I guess it's a philosophical like frustration of, I just don't understand why people don't respond to communications.
Maybe the next time Mitchell's on the committee, you could ask him. That would be
Yeah.
helpful for me.
Yeah.
And I would say, Andy, just from staff's observation on this, I think one, making kind of Mesba our official tourism entity and having them ramp up on some of their specific marketing things that they're doing is a big asset probably to the hotels, knowing that that's going on and there is actually, they can call Christine for specifically regarding these types of advertising opportunities. There's actually a go-to person for that now. And the fact that we are actually targeting these hotel sponsorships as a commission. That's a real value thing that we can certainly present to them, and I think they would kind of make sure that they're aware that we're doing this as a commission now. We really haven't, we've kind of informally done that with a couple of folks. Well, obviously Mitchell's aware, certainly we met with Country Inn and Suites and Christine's meeting, so they're aware of it, but I think we, that's something we can really provide to them as a clear benefit and a good reason to support and be involved in what we're looking at here.
So that's exactly what I to take Andy's philosophical and turn it into a reality. Are you saying, Neil, that someone would reach out and talk to the folks at the hotel who are perhaps?
Yeah, I would think either Christine and or myself, both of us will probably be trying to reach out to them and just kind of, just almost as just a check in. Hopefully they're engaged in their meeting. I know.
Yeah.
Between Christine's board and certainly having Mitchell on this board, we should have those formal contacts, but I think actually just stopping in and saying, hey, how are things going? Sometimes they're aware of it. One thing I won't say we missed, but we kind of anecdotally heard that, there were people in the area who were, even for the 90% of the eclipse, were staying in the area to try to get a glimpse of it somewhere. I know other hotels that were actually in the path of totality that were selling out 18 months in advance. That's obviously not something that's gonna be on our radar screen. But if we're talking to those hotels, they can be like, hey, maybe we get this great event coming up. Either they want help marketing it or they're full and they want help getting that, getting those other folks down there. They're gonna be here. What can we do with them when they're here so they come back? Call Christine. She's got a great list. She's got a great guide. She's got all the stuff. Go to these restaurants, go to these shops, go get them out. So just making sure that it's more of an ongoing conversation to make sure that we're aware of anything that they've got going on and vice versa.
So just to verify, somebody will be reaching out to these hotels that have not responded to Christine's outreaches.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
And we can't make them participate.
I know.
Yeah, but we certainly will continue to keep them on the radar screen in terms of reaching out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think, oh, sorry, Teresa, go ahead.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
I know this is probably jumping around. So I think like just generally where I'm at, I'm very supportive of this. I think at least for a year, giving it a whirl and seeing how it goes. And, I think the hard part, Christine, will be the data, right? Is coming back and saying, this is the increases, and I'm not saying you have to hit that 25% because that's what it says, but I think showing incremental increase will be highly important, at least to my perspective of renewing this for the future. One question that I have is, and you talked about this application and then the outdoor one next. But like, I feel like there's a lot of duplication of these applications for like advertising with Destination Madison, this one, you explained this one, the outdoors one, and then the one with Parks and Rec. And I'm trying to figure out, because we also provided a grant of $10,000 just last year for Destination Madison, which was supposed to help with advertising. So I'm trying to get a more clarity around how are these all being coordinated? Because as you mentioned, you worked with Whitehorse Festival, and I know they have a lot of funding for marketing on their own. So how is this complementing? How are you working with them? You mentioned you are working with them. So that's good. And, more publications, the better. But what I fear is there's a lot of overlap, maybe Destination Madison is utilizing some of these same resources that, is in this first initial application. And feel free, any commissioner members or Christina or Neil, like to say, hey, you're way off. Let's just focus one at a time. But I'm just trying to get a clarity of like how these are all working together symbiotically and not paying for duplication, I guess.
I'll kind of let Missy talk about the Destination Madison a little bit more in general, but we have a year-long contract with them that is up in August. And with that contract, basically, we're able to get access to their website to be able to put our events on there. It's a pretty low-level relationship. And then it did come with a couple, they had a couple different blog posts that they plugged our events or Monona in general, things like that. So going into next year, the one that Missy submitted is actually much more comprehensive. We would actually have Monona would have a landing page on the website and things like that. So that would be, we know that people go there researching Madison. So our hope would be that they would see us on there and say, hey, this is right off the interstate. We'd like to stay here instead of going downtown where we have to deal with traffic. But that's, that's a different subset than we can reach with some of these other channels. So that's why we're kind of looking at ways that we can do each of them with social media advertising, with the iHeartRadio, with some of the CityCast targeting. We can actually, and some of the greater outdoors. So if you see the months that have the OTT, those are months that we can actually track how many views we got, because that's how the pricing is set up by exposures. So I don't know if anyone's ever done like social media advertising or Google advertising. You pay per click or like pay per exposure. So we can actually track how many people saw these ads and then reacted. So they clicked on the link or they, whatever the case may be. The TV, we can't track, obviously. I mean, they can give us an idea of how many people generally watch different shows, but that's about as far as we can go with that. So, yeah, I guess.
Okay, so it sounds like the $10,000 one is a year contract. And then the $63,000 one would be essentially when we're up for renewal for that one, we would up it to whatever that level is.
Yes.
So to clarify, Andy, the $63,000, I'm sorry to interrupt, the $63,000 with the Discover or Destination Madison, Discover Monona, Mesbah, Monona Park and Rec partnership would be a 3-year commitment. That is part of their stipulation, I believe, and there was on a 3-year commitment.
$63,000 each year.
That packet that if you're part of the 17 annual investment, 17%. So that 17% fluctuates based off of what the overall room tax dollar number is. So the more the more you bring in, the more you give out back in the tourism dollar. Christine made a very good point, though, that, I mean, we're located right next to Madison, where our tourism market is directly related to what's happening in and around the Madison area. So without Madison, Monona, and the money, tourism dollars don't exist, in my opinion. So we really need to, I think, piggyback off of what happens there and get Destination Madison as our first landing point to really get what we have here in Monona known and seen. Because we're really businesses, parks, and events, and that's what we do and who we are in Monona, and that's what we need to promote to people that are visiting here.
So it sounds like, I mean, I'm not gonna put words in Christine because she's got other applications in here. But if you were to prioritize, because $63,000 each year for 3 years is a heavy lift when we don't know what we're getting from year to year. And I know it's 17% of the 70%. But it sounds like, Christine, you can correct me, this would be priority number one, is the Destination Madison. If we were gonna do one of these things, and I'm not saying we're just gonna do one of them, but would you prioritize it by saying Destination Madison would be the first partnership and then the others?
I would say no right off the bat too for her, no, I mean, but I do think that it's a great thing to go, but I already know her answer, we've already had this question.
Actually, Misty, the 3 years is only if you want a seat on the board.
Okay, good, thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, so you can do it
Okay.
for a year, you just don't get that extra benefit of having a seat on the board, but, so I think, with the Destination Madison, we do get a lot of things and they track their website unbelievably well. And, they can give us tons of stats and statistics on all this different stuff. And they do, commission studies once a year to see where people are coming. That's why I was able to say, like, I don't know, something like 80% of the people come within 100 miles of Madison, especially if they're doing day trips and weekend trips. So they can give us a lot of information on that. So it's beneficial to have some sort of partnership with them. But even though we would have a dedicated page there, it's up to the person on their website to stumble across us unless we pay to have certain things promoted on their website. So
Gotcha.
that's where we
But
kind
nothing-
of thought, like, we need to have some sort of partnership with them. And if you look at Missy's application, there are a couple different tiers that we could try. But I also think these other ones are going to get out of the area for people who aren't necessarily looking to come to Monona or Madison. They're just going to see it because
Gotcha.
they like biking or because they like water access or, things like that. They're not looking for us. We're getting in front of them on these other options.
Gotcha. This has been helpful. Sorry,
Yep,
everybody.
no,
for
that's
commandeering
okay.
the
Really
rest.
helpful.
It's a lot of money, so I appreciate it.
Well, along those lines, Andy, that's why certainly when we took a look at it, I think there's a really nice, in your packet, there's a really great. There's basically three tiers of kind of service levels that Destination Madison provides. The $25,000 was kind of the middle one that we looked at in terms of that. And just from my standpoint, the amount of benefits increases significantly going to the $25,000 level. But there's a few things kind of at the end that you don't get, but I don't know if they were really that super. I know they were nice, but I think that, maybe the 25,000 would be kind of a nice first foray into it to see how it really goes and what kind of benefits we can get out of it. And then if that goes well, to certainly consider going up to a larger commitment at that point. Was kind of what I was thinking when I took a look at it, so.
Gotcha. All right. Sorry for all the commissioners. If we want to go back to the original application. Oh,
In reference to that real quick, there are only 3 other cities in the area that have the 17% currently. That's Fitchburg, Middleton, and Verona. The other communities that are falling in, like the Wanakee's with us, if we go into that 25,000. So I do think that there are communities that have that value. And we have kind of discussed with them if they've seen the value outright, and I do think that there is value there, but just wanted to give the information that those are the other 3 communities that are at that 17%. Okay.
thanks. No, that's helpful. It's a question I had.
Betsy, you got something?
Yes, Andy, I was just thinking there's no need to apologize because I was confused too, and I think I still am. Because I do see a lot of overlap between the multiple applications, and then I think, I mean, this is where my question lands is, so then what is included in the contract that we agreed on at the last meeting? So I almost feel like I need a chart, like this is what the contract includes, this is what these extra grants are also additionally supporting, and this is where the money's going, and they don't overlap with, because if it's, I think you had, you know, iHeart on both of them. I feel like there's enough overlap that I'm confused.
Yeah, so I
I
mean,
have
that's. if you-
only on one.
Oh,
Midwest Family Marketing is on the other application.
Yeah.
Which are two different entities that do also overlap. I think ultimately, when you're talking tourism and tourism in general and what our city has to offer, Christine and I are going to blur and have blurred lines on almost 90% of the projects that we do. And us as a Park and Rec department overlap with every single event that is asking for an outside application. So Park and Rec really houses the parks aspect of what tourism in Monona is. So we do have our hands in every single aspect of what is coming into Monona in one way, shape, or form or another, which makes the blurred lines because we're not always in charge, but we somehow ultimately are in charge of what's going on in the area. So we have a lot of mixed blurred lines. So when Christine mentions this great outdoor campaign, part of our tourism money from 2023, our last cycle, is going towards that great outdoor campaign as well, because we're part of the overall tourism market and industry in an organic and inorganic way. So lots of blurred lines, which helps nothing get really cleared.
And if you look at the budget, I didn't exactly know how to put it down, but I put it down as like a donation at the bottom of the budget line. Aldo Leopold, Parks and Rec and MESBA are all putting in $2,000 on top of whatever you give us so that we can do the whole package. So I did actually request a little bit less than what you recommended. I think you recommended the full amount.
What page is that on, Christine? Or maybe you don't have the packet, but if any of the other commissioners can help me.
For Great Outdoors, that is page. Good grief. Come on. why is it not? 20.
And that includes the budget you just referred to.
So if you look at all the way to the bottom, we think we know it's going to be about 17,000, and then we each are going to put in 2, so that takes away 6. So we were actually only asking for 11 for that one.
hold on, I'm trying to get us down there.
Is that on page 23, total campaign investment 12,100?
Page. I see it on 22, but I'm on an iPad, so I don't know. If that's
6,000 there, here it is right here. Yep. Donations.
we can't see your screen, Neil. just so
Yeah,
you know.
page 22.
22, like the spreadsheet, the grid, the chart or whatever. I was just looking for that $11,000 figure somewhere.
Well, the $11,000 would be up on page 20 on the
Oh.
amount of funding requested.
I see that now. And then the following on page 22. So what about page 23 where it talks about 12,100? How is that squaring with the 11,000?
So that's the total amount for the campaign that we need to pay them. Then there's a few extra things that are put in. So that's the whole
Okay.
17
Okay,
minus the 6 that is coming from the 3 organizations.
got it. So you're just asking for 11, but actually it's 12. Got it. No,
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
perfect sense. Yep.
Yeah, that was, again, staff took a look at it and just said why was there no reason to not do the entire requested,
Yeah.
or the entire eligible marketing dollar figure for that one?
Yeah.
Or for this one here for Great Wisconsin, so.
12
Okay, and then I think my
Perfect.
confusion still lies on then in the other application, you include the Great Outdoors one as part of the budget. And again,
Nope.
I don't,
It's not.
I think it's just part of the schedule,
Mhm.
right? The
Yeah,
media
it looks like
schedule
it's
for the
part
year.
of schedule, but not the budget.
If you look at
Um,
page
I'm trying to find it
14,
of the packet.
14.
Then here it is on page 19, total cost.
14 is the,
14.
Yeah, and then I'm saying scroll down further and there was um a
Oh,
total
yeah.
budget. We are currently working CityCast, iHeartRadio, and
Yeah.
then that 12,100 is in there also.
Oh, sorry, that was the basic like outline that we were passing around to all of these different places to, so they could see like what we're trying to put together.
Oh, so that should not pertain to your application here. is that
No,
what you're-
this is just for you to see what we're trying to do as a schedule. Don't look at the budget down there. Sorry, I forgot that that was there.
just look at the budget and the actual application.
Yes, please.
Document.
Although it does go back to, again, what we said previously, that maybe combining those two applications into this one contract wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea. If we're kind of looking at an overall promotion schedule for all of those different media options in one scope, there might
Yeah.
be a reason to combine both of those applications into one grant, so.
Right.
If I'm gonna go back to something Colleen mentioned about CityCast and how it seems to be geared toward people who are living in Madison. And then if I'm remembering correctly, Christine said it was kind of like a package deal. If we wanted Chicago, we had to also have Madison. Totally get that. I'm also wondering about the city of Milwaukee being a targeted area that you mentioned. And then as I scroll through, starting on page 15, I scroll through all that really great month by month information. I'm just scanning to see the word Milwaukee somewhere in here. And I'm not seeing it, so maybe you can help me understand how Milwaukee is going to be targeted.
We'll target Milwaukee with a couple of the other channels, but specifically with CityCast, they don't have a Milwaukee
Right.
thing yet.
So all the other stuff is just including Milwaukee. Got it. Okay.
So we're gonna do a couple of big urban
Makes sense. Okay.
areas within the area, some in northern Iowa, for example. We're gonna hit the Twin Cities on a couple of things.
Perfect.
Most of the marketing will be within that 100-mile radius.
100-mile radius. Okay. Got it.
All right. I'm gonna pull us back a little bit and go just back to the Monona Tourism and Media Campaign. I know there's a lot of blending of all of them. But what additional questions do we have on this? So they requested 65.2, staff recommendation of 50. What they essentially took out was the media production piece of it.
Yep.
Do we have, I'll just say, do we have a motion for this one?
I have a question. If it
Sure.
was my understanding that the media production is a skill set that Christine and her team may not have, and they may need to hire a professional to do that sort of work. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you do not have the funds, then you won't be able to hire someone to do that work.
Yeah, we'll just have to like piece some stuff together. If we can get Will to help us out with some things. I mean, he's always really willing to do that, but sometimes he's busy and we can
Yeah.
be like, we need this next week.
Yeah.
I guess a question I have with the media production side then is that a quote from somebody for $10,000, or is that like if we give you half of that in order to ensure at least that helps you get partway there, if not fully there?
We've been talking to a few people for doing some stuff for Mesba actually, and like a minute commercial, just a general one for us to do was like $7,000. So that's why,
Jeez.
you know,
Wow.
and I think that does include some shooting of the video, which we wouldn't have to have in this case because Will has been providing things like that he's been doing for the city in general. So that's why it's basically just the editing for it.
And Neil, this isn't a reimbursable piece of it. Can it be? I mean, I'm just thinking like if we approve the 65-2, so you have $10,000, $200 for the media production, but if you don't need it, it wouldn't be reimbursed. Is there
Yeah,
any way that we could do it that way?
Yeah, well, anything that's obviously identified, it would be, and a reimbursement would be an up to, so they've turned the invoices in to get it. But if they're, again, we can always add, break out part of this as again, what we've done previously. If there's a way to figure out how to do the hotel, hold on a second, you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Neil.
All right. So you can always do, if we wanted to move something to be something up front, you can always do some sort of, again, we can kind of put in what we do, this hotel sponsorship aspect of it as part of this campaign. That's that one you could argue is already kind of in either the tourism entity contract or in some of the other grants. Certainly, knowing what I've heard so far today, certainly adding the $10,000 in as a for that service I would have no problems adding that as a reimbursable expense for sure.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, I
taking
see that on your slide now is eligible. I overlooked that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, we could, Teresa, that maybe to your point is, we could approve it for the full, but, they might not need the full amount.
Right. I'm also thinking that, Will is very talented and capable. I also think the city is probably pulling on him a little harder than in the past, just as sort of an overall communication strategy that I know that Neil is really working to tackle. I wonder about Will's time. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, no problem with the need to contract or hire somebody to do that service. That no problems from staff's end on that one.
All right. Is there a motion on this particular?
Andy, the only other thing I would throw out there is if there's interest in that second one, in terms of the Great Outdoors Wisconsin one, I would just as soon roll that into that first one and add that in, so it's all on one contract, because that is a different media campaign item. Unless there's any specific concerns with that separately, it would certainly ask if you guys would be willing to just put that in as one contract item. So it would be essentially these items here up to 60,000. Plus, I think it would be the recommended 12,100, which is a reimbursement of the content items that they had. Although they did have the extra $2,000 that we did not identify for possible content work. I'm assuming it's similar to what the last one was, Christine, in terms of needing to contract somebody. So we want to maybe add that in there as well. Up to you guys if you want to do them individually or separately.
Let's just do them individually. Just make it, I think it's easier.
Okay.
But that's just me. Following the PowerPoint.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think Christine probably hears the general confusion that maybe next year we just put it all together or however it works. So is there a motion on this one?
I guess I would update staff recommendation would be up to 60,000 for reimbursement.
I make a motion to what Neil just said.
To 60,000. All right.
I'll second so
second?
that I can ask. I'll second so that I can ask a question.
All right.
I was under the impression that $7,000 gets you 1 minute of a television commercial. And so that's why the funding request of 65.2 would allow Christine to actually hire a professional to help them with things like that, with their digital media needs. Is that accurate?
7,000 was if they came and did like shooting the B-roll, whatever, doing the interviews and then editing it all and putting it together. So we're going on the assumption that we can pull most of that stuff from what Will has already provided for us. And then it would just be editing costs. And like I said, I don't know, I just put in a nice round number because I wanted to have a little bit of a cushion in case we ran out to some of these things. But yeah.
Well, to be clear, Alder, if for some reason that came in was going to be higher, they could always come in and request that. But it's an amendment to this if that was necessary.
Oh, okay.
So just, I mean, You can
Well, in that
always come,
case-
you can always come in and ask for an amendment if it ends up being
Right.
higher, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
What, will you please remind me what the motion on the table is?
$60,000,
50.
60,
Oh,
60.
60.
And there's a second.
So 60 would be. Oh,
60 is all of these eligible, all the eligible items identified in the slide.
yeah.
So the social media, the iHeart, CityCast, and the video content creation, all of those. That's $60,000.
I see.
So it's pretty much getting rid of the staff labor, even what I was just looking at is the budget doesn't equal out. Because you have 60 plus the 7,200 for staff time, but anyway. So yeah, current motion is $60,000. Further discussion, questions, thoughts? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Uh,
Aye.
All those opposed, nay? All right. Now the outdoor one, I will just move. Oh, go ahead, Betsy.
I have a hard stop at 1:30. Also,
Okay.
I do think I should abstain from this one, the Great Outdoors one, because it does actually negatively impact the nature center. So I will stay out of the conversation on this one.
Interested on the negatively impact.
Yeah, are you able to explain?
Yeah.
Because it puts us on the hook for the $2,000.
Oh, was that not previously discussed or is that?
I'm sure that Christine did discuss it with Kira. I'm positive she did,
Oh,
but I'm
okay.
just
Mm.
looking at my bottom line and knowing that I need to abstain from this.
Okay.
Let's skip that one for now then, so that we can get your opinion on. What's the next one here? Destination Madison Partnership. So I think we talked about this quite a bit too. So maybe is there any additional pertinent information or new information that Missy or Christine wanted to add to this one? All right. Is there,
So, sorry,
Yeah.
there's different levels. Cause 17, this is a lot of money. And I don't know if it would be worth it to get a landing page. Now, I know, us having a partnership with Destination Madison, I understand that that's valuable, but I don't know how many, based on my limited experience with these kind of websites, even in mid-sized cities, most people do not use them as a tool or visit them before they go, especially since, most visitors to Madison, it's not purely tourism based. So-
It's not necessarily just, let's say, a splash or landing page. It does offer more benefits with, they're already 6-7 years out on who they know is coming to the Madison area for their events. So we had the opportunity to work with them by having this bigger partnership to be like, okay, now let's work with our hotels directly to be like, okay, we know in 4 years, 3 years, these events are coming. Let's get these blocks in Monona at their hotels versus some of these other levels that don't have it. So it does give us a little bit more partnership level at if we do have that 3-year commitment, let's just say, that puts us on the board. That gives us direct access to the decision-making opportunities then, which I think houses great opportunity for us in Monona to continually bring people in. The more people we bring in, the bigger this fund is, the more things we can fund future out, which I think is our overall goal as a committee and commission and department people here in Monona. So it does have more
does
than
this-
just that splash landing page.
No, so I was just wondering if there's a lower cost and what it would be at different levels.
The next
In our
one's
packet, it
25
shows-
and then 10.
Oh, okay, I see, okay.
So I
Yeah, and
guess,
staff, and Kelly, yeah, I was saying, sorry, staff recommended 25, I recommended 25,000 for that exact reason, Colleen. I think there was substantial increase in benefits in the partnership going to a $25,000 sponsorship level. But it also lets us see how things go, and we can evaluate that in terms of seeing if we think it was beneficial. We can evaluate that and try to increase that in following years. It also does provide still access to additional opportunities, even at the $25,000 level. If other specialty advertising things did come up, we have access to at least consider. No, we'd have to still add funding and approve funding to participate in those things, but at least it gives us access to some of those things at the $25,000 level. So we felt it was a good halfway measure to kind of get our feet wet, so to speak, to check it out.
so yeah,
I'd like-
go
Oh, sorry.
ahead.
No, I'd just like more information about what a working relationship with them would look like. I'm seeing the way they sell themselves to other cities. And like what they've done for Middleton, I don't see a huge, they say more than once different thing, the same thing they've done for Middleton. Like they got one travel writer there to see the Mustard Museum. They mentioned that 3 times, and and Middleton is much larger. They technically have more to offer than we do. And so I'm just wondering, I just want to make sure it's a good return on investment, and maybe more of a half measure would be the way to start.
Yeah, I think I'm on page or on similar agreement or thought process as you. I think obviously having a good relationship with them is important. I think $60,000 is a lot. I think $25,000 would be fine. I would also put a caveat that we have a contract with them now, which expires, when is it? August? So like, I guess an addendum I would have is that we don't renew it until August at the $25,000, because we currently have a contract unless there's something pressing that we really need on their website.
It is 2 totally different avenues of what Christine's $10,000 goes towards versus like what this 25,000. We could possibly do this $25,000 package that we're doing right now and still pay that additional $10,000 to still do exactly what Christine is doing with her campaign right now. So there are additional funding sources that still go in, because even the 25 and 63 still does not get you everything in. There are still a la carte options and items that we still possibly could be doing in addition to what this money goes towards.
I think the other thing, Andy, we would want to do is we would say that, we would certainly coordinate those contracts and take a look at them. If there were in fact some overlap there, we'd say that this is effective as of 8/1. So we could take a look at that and make sure that there's not an overlap of service time for whatever agreements we have.
They are very interested in the kayak and canoe program that we're having at Schluter, which would be, if we go starting August, we miss that whole market on getting, our avid outdoor people in the
But
area.
can't we use
looking for
the
something to do.
$10,000 contract? I guess I'm confused because we should only have one contract with them, period.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, so right now we have a $10,000 contract, or is that just with MESBA and them? Is that not with Discover Monona?
No.
Oh, okay, so we
It was
need to
with
address that
MESBA.
at some point
Yep.
in the future, because
Yep.
we should not be having multiple contracts, but
We
Okay,
would be
alright.
having, sorry, Andy, we'd be having multiple contracts with them regardless, because each different like plan or addition that we have has its own separate item. Right, Christine, that is what they discussed, like if we were looking at the additional, that would be its own piece and its own contract. So I think we would possibly be having multiple regardless.
So what Missy's
then
saying
my
is,
question is, what
you
is
pay the
25,000
25 to have like that tier of involvement. Then, since it's on their website and we have to kind of rely on people to find us on their website, if there was something we really wanted to highlight, we have to pay extra to have it put like on the first page or on a banner ad or something like that. So that's what Missy's talking about. If there are certain things that we really want to make sure get out there are add-on packages for certain
Mhm.
so
marketing.
25,000 is just a membership fee.
Yes, yep. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit more than a membership fee, but yes, basically. And
Okay,
so the
all right.
10,000 last year does coincide with the lowest level on that sheet, but we actually negotiated like a very specific, we want you to cover this, we want you to cover this, we want this. So basically we wanted them to cover the Chili Fest, we wanted them to cover our self-discovery weekend, we wanted them to do one journal entry, or like, sorry, one blog post covering the city of Monona in general. So we had some very specific asks in our 10,000 from last
So
year.
now you're
it's
making me
not
think we should do
actually-
10,000 with specific asks.
Mhm.
That's what I think too.
The 10,000 for specific ask is not, it does not go as much in as far as you think it does, like. That's why you can see the 25,000 is possibly, or the 63, but that's why we're also asking for additional funding and sources to do some of these other pay-to-play options or modules, because it's not enough. Christine just said $7,000 on a 1-minute ad. That's the pay-to-play market rate that we're dealing with. So when you see, yes, 60,000 or 63.25 looks like a big number, it does not go as far and stretches greatly as much as you want it to. So that's why we have a lot of different overlaps in some of our things to blend and make the most out of everything we're doing.
So I guess, and sorry, this will be my last comment, but like, essentially, if we pay 63,000, we're still gonna have to do the pay to play anyways either. So why wouldn't we just do the 10,000, get that relationship, have that membership? And then we're still doing, I mean, we just approved 60-some thousand dollars for marketing. We'll probably approve the outdoor thing for marketing too. So I feel like we would have to pay for those extras anyways. Why would we pay $63,000 to pay more?
I would say it gets us some of those benefits the other packages don't offer, and I think for us being at that table at that 3-year commitment would really have something beneficial for us. But it is a big commitment up front. But if we want to market Monona as a place to visit, I think we have to put the marketing dollars and investment into it. It's really hard talking
And I'm
to
fine with
screen with
marketing,
nobody there.
for sure.
It's 60,000.
And I also kind of want to point out here that this package is really more Parks and Rec. We're talking to
Yes.
Destination Madison and they just kind of looped us in because ours will be.
Correct.
So, yeah, it's sort of different.
So
Different, yeah.
So this
Have
one's
we
just Parks and Rec. Sorry, go ahead, Colleen. I'm done.
yeah, have we ever invested at the top level, at the 17% level?
No.
And in the past, what level have we invested at, in how we partnered with Destination?
Zero.
Last year was the
$0.
first time we funded that with MESBA, but Monona and Discover Monona apparently.
Okay.
has not.
So,
Yeah.
so MESBA has
15
worked with
years ago.
Destination Madison, and now Parks and Recs is curious to work with Destination Madison. Okay.
We
And
have
Mes-
a bit, oh, sorry, Teresa. Keep
And then
going.
at what level has MESBA partnered with Destination Madison? At the 17% level?
No, because it was just for us, so we didn't have access to the 17% of everything. So it was just a $10,000 and it was, like I said, for very specific asks that benefited MESBA.
Okay.
70% is in tourism. So that's what
Since this is our first year with Parks and Recs, and thinking about a partnership, I would certainly not be in favor of just going all in at the highest level. I'd want to see some sort of, evaluation of how this goes before we go further. Yeah.
We have something very unique in Monona with the Lake Ridge Bank River Rink that offers a very unique winter tourism base. That we have that market right now that nobody else in the area other than the Edgewater has. And I will tell you, our condensers are better, we're open longer, we have more events, we have more activities, and we do it better. I don't want to sound cocky, but we do it better than them. And so we want people to come to Monona and we want them to come to Lake Ridge Bank River Rink because we do it better. Us having that market keeps us in a game that no other community has. And that's what I think we need to hit hard.
Well, I do agree.
Well,
with
and
you.
I think
From a
that's
visitor
where-
standpoint, from a visitor standpoint, I agree with that. However, from a hotel overnight standpoint, hotel stay standpoint, maybe not as effective as other places might be on that. So just a caveat on that. Again, heads and beds is always our driver at the end of the day. So certainly and absolutely a huge asset. And I think in combination with other things we're marketing, absolutely want to get that out there and include that as a key visitor item for folks to do while they're here. But just, you know, again, just the caveat that obviously we need to, our focus is heads and beds for this commission, so.
Can't get heads and beds if they
Commissioner
don't know
Chair,
about
I
us.
do have to leave, so I know there's
Okay.
not a motion on the table. And I think I will end our quorum, so I apologize for that.
I think we're still
No,
okay.
we'll still have quorum.
We'll have three, Betsy. I think we're okay.
Okay,
So,
all right.
Yeah.
thank you.
Before I
maybe-
go though, I'm not in favor of the full 17%. So I think I'm in line with the other commissioners who have spoken on that matter so far.
Good.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Betsy.
So like, from a marketing perspective, I understand, especially with the staff limitations, both at Parks and Rec and Destination Madison, I understand the idea of coming into agreement with this. You get things that you wouldn't otherwise because, again, of limitations, like doing it a la carte or doing it with in-house is not possible, right?
Right.
But I am just not convinced that Destination Madison will really provide the value, especially for this kind of investment.
Yeah.
And, you know, if maybe we could table it or try again, or have more specific examples of how it would bring visitors, especially outside of Dane County. I'm very open to that. Just at this moment, I'm not convinced.
Well, and I guess I'm a little confused too. So I guess sorry that I misunderstood. I thought Discover Monona already had a contract and that was what we did, but that was just MESBA. So now is this one, and now based on Christine's comments that this is more Parks and Rec. So would this contract be with the city of Monona? So like we would, you know, advertise everything. Obviously Parks and Rec has the majority of the events, etc. But the city would have this more formal relationship. Or like, who's the applicant here?
I put it in as a joint applicant of Monona Parks and Rec and MESBA. I wrote the application and we brought MESBA in. MESBA Destination, Discover Monona, whichever way you would like to frame that. When we were talking with Destination Madison and saying, okay, well, we've also been talking with Christine, why don't we get us all in the same room and have the same, you know, agenda and the same end game and have a holistic, overall comprehensive Monona-based landing page. So it would, we discussed it going to the Discover Monona splash page, since it houses everything very nicely in a tourism lens for people to view. So it really became more like working with Destination Madison and gaining more information. We all came together to promote Monona and everything we have to offer. So it's not necessarily business versus parks versus special events. It's that everything's working together because naturally they all go together. The events are happening in the parks, which we're running, which are housing people that are visiting the local businesses that are all getting people here to Monona. So why aren't we all working together on a common goal to accomplish what we all want, getting people here, instead of fighting against each other and not knowing what's going on? I guess it was more of an open communication line and piece versus anything else.
To your point though, Andy, I mean, in terms of it, if it is actual marketing, I mean, I think in terms of actually marketing the events, even if they're parks events, I kind of like the idea if Discover Monona and Mesa kind of, if Christine's kind of one coordinating all of the other general marketing for the city overall, it seems to me that maybe that's the best place for that. I think these just need to be folded into kind of and coordinated with what Christine's doing. I think my initial reaction would be that I think Christine would be the appropriate applicant and grant. Now, certainly those that would, again, part of that contract or whatever we end up doing would be to help market those specific events that Parks and Rec is doing. But I think coordinating that, again, getting these, to Missy's point, getting them under one umbrella, I think seems to be the more efficient way of doing it, and making sure that that relationship and that communication is there, but we're already marketing those anyway. So I think, for me, I think like Discover Monona would probably be where we would want to send these funds, with the targeting of helping market those specific Parks and Rec events that we're doing. If that makes sense.
I'm so sorry. I'm also gonna have to leave this call. But that will end quorum, yes.
Yeah, that would end the meeting.
Sorry.
That's okay, you just want me to get another one set up here, Andy, on these, so we got 2 or 3 more to go still, so.
Let's do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to better put my thoughts around this, as well, this Destination Madison stuff. Yeah.
I'm fine with 25.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, I think the takeaway of the Destination Madison thing is like, I feel like, and I'm not gonna speak for everyone, we want to market things.
Yeah.
And, like, we gave Parks and Rec $30,000 to market the ice rink and some activities and stuff like that. So like
Yeah.
that, I see still a huge value in. I guess I'm just trying to figure out, I mean, I know partnership with Destination Madison, great. I know they have links and all that stuff, but like, if we're gonna have to pay to market that anyways, like we just approved one,
Mhm.
I don't understand, like, I guess maybe next time there will be a better explanation of like why 63,000, which I don't think I'll ever get to that level, but
Yeah.
especially the 17%, I'll never get to that level, but
Yeah.
25,000 or whatever. So marketing isn't the issue. We would pay for that. Okay,
So I guess we need to make a motion to adjourn this meeting till we'll try to check a date certain for everybody and get that on everybody's calendar then as quick as we can, so.
I move to adjourn and to set up a future meeting to pick up where we've left off.
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right. Sorry, Christine. Sorry, Misty, that you have to show up again. See ya.
Thanks, everybody. Man, they were really on it today.